Welcome to another episode of Recreation Rooster. I'm Dan Chievo again, and I'm with my shit Jones, my co-host. So let's jump right into it. The quote of the day for episode 16: You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Once again, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. C.S. Lewis. That was a that was a
That
great.
one.
Yeah, it really is. It kind of makes you realize that no matter what happened to you in life, people have bad fortune sometimes. But no matter what happened to you, you can start where you are and change the ending. In other words, you can recreate yourself at any time. What better point is that? Uh-huh.
You're spot on with that. I love that. I mean, how can I follow up that? Okay. It's
Uh,
definitely related to the benchmarks of what we do as recreation therapists on a day-to-day basis. And
right.
then I love the rebound, recovery, rehab aspect of this quote as well, along with just rediscovering yourself, understanding that we're an evolved species and that every day we're different than what we were yesterday, and embracing change, right?
Hmm.
That's the one thing that's ever constant is change, as well. So I think that quote is really cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. And next
Yeah,
up, guys.
and
And
it
next
is
up,
much better
guys.
to embrace change than
Oh,
be resistant
sorry.
to it or whatever, for sure. Uh, Absolutely, because like it or not, it's here. So you could say a lot about change, really. That's a subject you could change a lot, and that's something everybody could relate to in a way, because change is inevitable, really. Yeah, yeah, change is inevitable. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But
Couple things, guys. A couple of things. We do have, speaking of change, we do have some upcoming things. So April is Autism Awareness Month. Okay. So we want to definitely spread the word about ways that recreation therapists are instrumental in aiding persons who have diagnosis of autism, who might have, neurodiversity, right? How they may manage life and how their loved ones, caregivers, and communities can also manage life and manage it more equitably and more inclusively, right? As well. And then we also have maternal health month is also in April, where they really do focus strongly on Black maternal health. As we know, there's a high prevalence of mortality for Black mothers all over the nation. Many say it's an epidemic. So, focusing in on how recreation therapy can be utilized with mothers in general, and particularly with Black mothers, to ensure that they can have a healthy, um, a healthy maternity, and also a healthy delivery, and also postpartum. Healthy transition into motherhood, and that the infant can be healthy too. Because if mommy is not healthy, then the survival of the infant is in jeopardy. And then we also have an upcoming May is Mental Health Month as well. So it's just speaking on how recreation therapy is utilized in behavioral mod and mental health settings to ensure that we can have safe, healthy, and happy communities is essential as well. So those are some of the upcoming and current and upcoming awareness campaigns that focuses on change for the better, focuses on health, on healthy outcomes for communities at large. So we at Recreation Rooster, we are in support of all those three and many, many others we have yet to mention. We're in support of all of those awareness campaigns.
Yes, exactly. It is very much exciting time in that sense. With Maternal Health Month. May is National Mental Health Month. It's Autism Awareness Month. And if you're in this area, there is a in the Greater New York City area at the Boathouse Cafe in Passaic, New Jersey, April 26th. There is a neurodiversity event, 6 o'clock. It's $60 donations requested, but it's $60 at Boathouse Cafe, the 26th, Friday the 20 Saturday, I believe, the 26th of April. Yes, Saturday the 26th of April. And wait, is it Friday or Saturday? The 26th of April. And it's a neurodiversity event. No, yeah, the Friday, the 26th. And it's 6 p.m. Boathouse Cafe, Passaic, New Jersey. Boathouse Cafe, Passaic, New Jersey, 6 o'clock. So for those of you who...
And what's the name of the organization?
It is Growing in Grace, I believe, is the name of the organization that is doing it. It's a fundraiser for National Night Out. So once again, Growing in Grace is doing it, is the name of the organization, and they focus on mental health primarily. So yeah.
So look up Growing in Grace, New Jersey. So you're going to see the N and the J.com. So it is www.growingingracenj.com. Okay.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah. So you could register, I guess, I believe, on there. So, yeah. No, for that. Perfect. Good idea.
So next up is the song of the day. Take it away, Dan.
Oh yes, yes, indeed. Well, Father and Son by Cat Stevens. Well, and of course, this is an important song because it talks about, you know, father, and said I love to get together, but don't have time, basically. And then the son grows up, says the same thing to the father. I love to get together, but we don't have time. We can't be a bunch of fathers and sons missing each other, mothers and daughters, etc. So we have to not overwork. We have to make time for each other and what is really important in life. So, and that's what, the song kind of gets down to. So,
I think that's so just spot on in the way that the song is able to bring that home for the listener. It's essential. Time is our most limited resource, guys. So we have to make sure that we use it and we use it well, and that we use it with our loved ones, and that we build connections. So thank you so much. I think that one is really touching. That song of the day. And you said it's by who? Who is
Cat
it by?
Stevens. Cat Stevens.
Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, guys. Next up, we have our next segment. It is pushing forward actionable steps in therapeutic recreation. Actionable steps of advocacy in therapeutic recreation. And we wanted to just talk about just a simple thing as a consumer. Are you a recreation therapist that is a consumer of recreation therapies? Ask yourself that. Have you ever went to your primary physician and asked for alternative therapies and mentioned recreation therapy to see what options were available within your service network of your insurance, or to see if there was just any facilitators or practitioners in your respective neighborhoods, communities, or cities, right? So first and foremost, think about that. Are you a recreation therapist who pursues alternative therapies in recreation therapy? And if you're not, become one today. Simply put.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. That's a good point. Absolutely. Yeah.
Think about it, our counterparts. Oftentimes you will see a physical therapist who said, guess what? I had to go in for physical therapy. You will see a primary physician, a primary care provider, PCP, that will say, oh, I had to go see my doctor today. You will see a nurse who says, oh, I was treated so well by a nurse today. You see an occupational therapist who says, oh, I had an occupational therapy consult today. So guess what? We need to hear recreation therapists say, guess what? I had a recreation therapy consult today and it was amazing. Right? How many recreation therapists can say that? I can. I have requested recreation therapy. I have paid for recreation therapy out of pocket. I've requested it through my PCP as well. But how many other recreation therapists can I ask that question to and they can say yes? Very few. So we have to be mindful that this is a 360. In order to improve the viability and the fiscal viability and value asset of recreation therapists, we as recreation therapists have to see the benefit of us requesting access to those services for ourselves and for our own well-being. It is not just a service that is for persons with special needs. It is a service for everyone. And until we fully embrace that professional efficacy and the need even as a consumer, we're going to continue to deal with the backlash and the marginalization. So it starts with us.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah, it starts with us. So, that's a hard pill to swallow for many of us. Marinate on it in your sleep and start a brand new outlook and viewpoint and action on it tomorrow. It's just that simple. Embrace the profession 100% as a practitioner and also as a consumer. It will be of the betterment for the profession.
Good point. Absolutely. Yeah. Good point. Absolutely.
And next up, guys, we got our next segment. It is Below the Surface, where we talk about recreation subcultures. And me being in LA, I wanted to talk about the urban art subculture of most major cities. Oftentimes you hear about urban artists that use graffiti and other modes of artistic expression to showcase their viewpoints of the world, to showcase their life experiences, to showcase their visionary goals and ambitions as well. And some isn't accepted by the main art stream, and some is artistic industries, and some is. And I know that here in Los Angeles, graffiti is king. It's everywhere. Some is used to set claim to territory, and others is simply just artistic expression. Dan, you being in New Jersey and New York area, I know you've seen your share of graffiti too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about it is truly a underground culture, which oftentimes is very nocturnal. They go and they do these I would say murals while the mainstream city sleeps. They strap on harnesses and hang from sides of buildings and sides of freeways in order to get this stuff done. They find ways to make money to buy the paint and all the other materials that they need to create these masterpieces. And the sheer scale of them, the fact that some of them are murals on the side of huge buildings is amazing. It means that there's teams of people that are coordinating and completing these tasks in the veil of night under timelines under tight timelines as well. You know, and then of course, you know, the city has teams of cleaners that go and they clean it off of the walls and they repaint city property, right? As well. So it is definitely in many respects temporary art. And now
Yeah,
what we've seen all over the city, especially with, you know, the death of Kobe Bryant and his daughter, you see murals to living legends and legends that are gone. And for some cities, those graffiti are considered to be art.
yeah. Uh, Graffiti art and
Graffiti art. Mhm.
uh, yeah, definitely. Like you were saying, with that's true in Los Angeles. Kobe Bryant was a big figure, so that was probably some of that was inspired after his passing for sure. So and it creates
Absolutely.
jobs for people.
It
You know,
does. It
yeah,
is a job creator.
yeah.
I'm so curious, Dan. What has been some of the graffiti that you've seen, the images that you've seen in New York and New Jersey?
Well, I mean, just all kinds of very nice. It's usually, I guess, not necessarily images of anything in particular, but just, I guess, abstract art, essentially, abstract pieces of art, which is very nice, really, all over. So, uh, and sometimes
Very
there's
interesting.
a sign or a word that's, as that's spray painted or whatever, but it's oftentimes just very abstract, just a bunch of triangles and squares and circles and all kinds of different symbols all together in different colors and letters. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Indeed it is. You know, like I was mentioning before, it's very much veiled in secrecy as well. This particular subculture. So as we learn more and more about it at Recreation Rooster, we'll share it with you guys. Our next segment, guys, is behind the numbers. Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, behind the numbers. Uh, and actually, this is very important. Oftentimes, when in terms of what we do, we often have 28 days with people in substance abuse inpatient. So that's where our leisure education and giving participants knowledge and skills that they could take with them and use outside of the treatment center is really huge because that's what they're going to be doing ideally. And we could really make, and we really can and do make a difference in terms of recidivism. Whether or not they end up having to come back to that 28-day program, which hopefully the idea is they don't and they learn and grow during those 28 days and then they're able to stay clean and sober. But yeah, we are a big piece of that in terms of leisure education and giving them, like I said, other practical resources and skills and knowledge to take with them so they could really make the best of their lives.
Absolutely. You know, developing those sober leisure skills and those coping skills when life gets difficult and stressful, and when those urges and that impulsivity sets in because they come in contact with old friends who they used to
Yeah,
party with, right? Or they have a moment where there is a letdown, where they've been overlooked or they've been denied something and they feel despair and they want to wallow in that pain, right? And in that rejection. and escape, finding other outlets to manage that is essential. It
Yeah,
doesn't require
uh,
that doesn't require a pill or a shot to get it done.
yeah, we could teach them how to get a natural high, uh, skydiving, whatever, to keep them from relapsing. So,
Right. And finding economical pursuits, right? Pursuits that are within their budget, right? Pursuits that can be sponsored for a minimal cost. You know, many of the clients that I have worked with over the years, they've taken on exercise, boxing, cycling,
yes,
taken on skateboarding, taken on skating, they've taken on journaling, hiking. Many of the type of physical exertion type of modalities. They use it as a clinical intervention towards their wellness to maintain their sobriety. Many of these things, and many of them become competitive in that pursuit. So it can be
yeah.
and it can be
So the
rewarding.
world of managed care, and actually, come to think of it, um, working with people post discharge is also something we could definitely do. You private practice people can that's definitely a potential niche as well. But of course, also there's also with the world of managed care, you often get 28 days. So,
Yeah.
uh, in the reality. Uh,
So, you know, it's essential for you recreation therapists that work in addiction or dual diagnosed populations that you stress the importance of doing a discharge plan, that you reach out to that primary case manager, be it a social worker or whatever, who's in charge of doing a discharge plan. And ask that, you know, outpatient therapies, you know, they call them in many places, they call them OAT or OIT, that those are one of the recommendations. And if you can get recreation therapy put on that discharge plan, that's also a great tool. At least it will give the receiving agency or the receiving case manager opportunity to even try to source those things in the respective community where that client will reside. It's not saying that they'll necessarily be a recreation therapist in the area, but at least one can be consulted by the transitional living facility and set programming in place, even virtually. This way, we can fill that gap and to reduce relapse and recidivism, and sometimes even death from overdosing for these clients. And we can have safer, healthier, happier communities.
yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. Without a doubt, having those being there, those people who work with people with substance abuse, and a lot of them also have compounding mental health issues. So it's some of them are actually still detoxing when they enter the program. So that 28 days, you might not even have fully 28 days because they're detoxing and they're in bed. They're going through withdrawal. So it's a tough system in terms of the limited time that you often given to work with them. But that's part of the reason, though, I feel like we are some of the most effective people for working with them because of all the education, knowledge, and support and understanding that we provide to people. That, uh, which is part of the reason, in some ways, I feel like we can be the most important person for those people. So.
Thank you. I think this was like so spot on, you know, just behind the numbers. It was definitely enlightening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And moving on to fast facts in TR Maisha, I guess. I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. Oh,
All right, I'm back. Yay.
that's awesome.
Okay.
I can't see
Oh,
you, but you're back. Oh, there you go.
Next up, guys. Next up, thank you for your patience
Uh,
as I sorted that one out. Our next segment.
look at her. That's a little picture of me down there. So
yeah.
next up on our segment is fast facts in therapeutic recreation. So with that being said, let's talk a bit more about the use of life skills training and recreation therapy programming. We are strong advocates and subject matter experts when it comes to life skills training. As we know, many times life skills are some of the barriers to leisure, right? To leisure and socialization. Some deficits in life skills, let me rephrase that, deficits and impairments in life skills. So a lot of times recreation therapists focus on activities of daily living, such as hygiene, such as social skills, communication, conflict resolution, anger management. We focus on executive functioning skills on a daily basis because oftentimes these things are utilized well before a person makes it to the leisure or the recreation or the social engagement that they're going to. So many times I do believe that people don't consider that recreation therapists are definitely keen at life skills training. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Mhm. Yeah. How to cope with change, work and life balance. Other items that are very critical to dealing, parenting education, health education, dealing with working with people, getting them involved in living as maximally and with as high a quality of life as possible. So these are definitely critical areas that we focus on, and that's a big area that we
Yeah,
focus on. It really is.
And the beauty of life skills is these are things that are not just qualitative, but they can be quantified. So
Yeah.
recreation therapists, highlight your skills, highlight your life skills training and skill building techniques, highlight the creativity of them and also the tangible outcomes of this programming that you provide on a day-to-day basis. Let yourself shine, okay? And for those that are seeking employment, highlight those skills and get that extra coin for you being an expert, a subject matter expert in the realm of life skills training as a recreation therapist.
Yeah, that could be huge. It really could be.
Indeed. All right, guys, next up, the next segment is Cornering the Market. Tips for success in private practice. And I wanted to talk a little bit about learning institutions. This is a market that a lot of recreation therapists should be pursuing. So I wanted to just talk about, so who is the person? Who is the administrator that you talk to about this? Many people say go to the parents, but going to the parents is not the answer. It's way too many parents, and there's no way that you're going to get that information. Okay. Going to the PTA meetings or the booster meetings is not the way to go either. Okay, because you need to go where the funding source is. Every state is allocated government funds to ensure that reasonable accommodations are put into place for students who need IEP or 504 supported programming to ensure that they have social skills, that they have life skills, and that they have curriculum infusion programming that helps them to perform academically. Okay, there has been a rash of poor performance in American schools, and there has also been an epidemic of violence, shooting, and suicide pacts, and depression, and anxiety, and anger, symptoms and diagnoses in school populations as well. And because of these type of comorbidities and symptoms associated with the comorbidities, there's a great need for recreation therapists to be in the school systems. So who do you speak to? You speak to the special education and learning program administrator. These are a group of 50 or more SELPAs. They're called SELPAs, Special Education and Learning Program Administrators. These persons are assigned to school districts, okay? So there's way more than 50 of them. They're on a national registry, and they are tasked with ensuring that school districts that receive government funding has vendorization processes and access to therapies in place for children who fit the criteria for 504 and IEP, which is Independent Education Program accommodations. You reach out to that administrative office. Don't reach out to the principal at the school. You call the school district and you reach out to the special education department or business office and you request vendorization. You need to request vendorization and you put all your paper, they give you this long form, you put all your paperwork in. You will go through a process of intensive vetting to ensure that you have the capacity, the competencies, and the proficiencies to do the work. Okay. And then you will be either awarded a vendorization contract or not. You can also do a shortcut if you don't want to work with very large school districts. You can always go private school or charter school. In those situations, they also have an administrator that is assigned. Of course, it is a smaller group of students, so you may be able to speak with the head of school if it is a private school, or you may be able to speak with the charter school district administrator as well. These are the individuals that you need to speak to. These are the people that are the gatekeepers. And understand anytime that you're working with youth, you will automatically be live scan checked on a regular basis to ensure that we maintain a safe, healthy, and therapeutic environment for our most vulnerable in our communities, which are our youth. Okay, so get out there, let your light shine, let people know how amazing you are and how you can improve the academic and the social emotional well-being of the youth and the communities at large with your creative, innovative programming. Okay, so that there is cornering the market. All right, guys. Next up, next up is nuts and bolts and TR. And we wanted to talk about biotech. Okay, so you're asking, what is biotech? Biotech is this new industry that has emerged in the last 15 years that focuses on using technology to help a person maintain their health. Many people walk around with Fitbits on their arm, these little watches that are like pedometers, heart monitors, and reminders and task orienters all day long. We have apps that have been created. We have clothing that is supposed to help you to maintain your posture or to push sweat off of you, to help you stay cool on a hot day if you're out working out. We have all these different gadgets that are in place now. This is biotech. And I believe that as recreation therapists, we need to embrace this, embody this. We use it in programming. So let's use it in programming and let's also become facilitators, distributors of this stuff as well. Our clients need it and we use it too. Why not make a coin off of it? Okay, it's a win-win situation. What's your thoughts on biotech, Dan?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely the technology for is making it a lot better and of course measurable in many ways as well. You can actually track steps to track heart rate, blood pressure. This stuff could give you a freaking EKG. I mean, it's unbelievable what they have nowadays. So, this is potentially very good, this technology, and there's a lot that we could do with it.
Yes, guys. So, recreation therapists, get out there. Let's be inventive. Let's understand that we can embrace leisure, health, athleticism across the board, in all aspects. And we have a community out there, we have markets out there that are craving it. Okay, they're craving it. So let's make sure that we're on the forefront of that. Okay, as well. So next up, guys, our next segment, which is our second to last, is the therapist friend. Tips and clinical considerations to use in clinical settings for recreation therapy. And with that being said, let's talk about doing a thorough chart review and what documents we should be focusing on. I love to read the psychosocial that is done by a competent social worker within the first or second admission date of my client, which I have 3 days to get my recreation therapy evaluation done. So oftentimes I take a close look at that psychosocial in the electronic health record. How about you, Dan?
Yes, that's a big one. I feel like that is probably the biggest one to get more of the clinical information that's applicable to us, which is, knowing a little bit about their strengths, their interests, their resources, and but of course there's also, nursing. Sometimes psychologists will come in, do a consult, or psychiatrists as well. Um, there's a, it's good to know that kind of information about the participants before you even see them sometimes. So it gives you a little bit of a heads up as to what you're walking into. So having that chart review is a good thing, and sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised when you meet the person, sometimes then maybe the opposite will happen. But I mean, it gives you an idea of what to look for. And of course, it's a great way to get some information for our evaluation, our assessment, and and then you could confirm if that's correct, if that the information is correct. But because they're going to be asked the same questions again and again and again, so that could eliminate some time by doing the have the some of that information ahead of time. So that's one thing I've always done as well.
Yes, so guys, and when you do pull from these other documents, make sure you cite it properly so that they understand that you did cite it, and also, the date that information was obtained from the client. Because oftentimes, clients present differently after the first 3 days, the first 6 days, the first 9 days. They may present differently as they become more stable. Right. So we have to take that in consideration and know that the evaluation is a living, breathing document, and everyone contributes to the plan of care. And we should embrace as recreation therapists to be part of the integrated health approach to care. We are not a silo. We are not the perimeter or supplemental. We are an integral member of the clinical treatment team. So I would say conduct yourself accordingly from the beginning to the end, and you will be respected by your counterparts for doing so as well.
No
All right,
doubt.
guys. Our second to the last thing. No. This is our last. Our last segment is the Recreation Rooster stamp of approval. And I myself wanted to highlight the most wonderful agency that I had the opportunity of being an intern at when I first came into the field. And this agency is located right outside of downtown Houston, Texas. It is called the Lighthouse of Houston. It is a nonprofit agency that focuses on persons and families that are impacted by vision impairment and blindness. This agency has 5 different locations servicing families, children, school-age children, and also seniors with aftercare programming, seasonal camps, also a 20 a not 24-hour but a 365 day a year, except for a few holidays, adult day program, strong aquatics, ceramics, dance, movement, singing, and creative arts for the greater Houston area. They also provide transportation to and from, and also peer support groups for mothers and fathers of children with vision impairment, and then also for siblings of children with vision impairment. It really creates community, and they also hire recreation therapists. So with that being said, I wanted to give the Recreation Rooster stamp of approval to the Lighthouse of Houston, and I encourage any RT that wants to have a well-rounded, comprehensive internship experience, or even want to get hired in the greater Houston area, to reach out to the Lighthouse of Houston at www.houstonlighthouse.org. And with that being said, thank you guys for joining Daniel and I today for episode 16 of Recreation Rooster Podcast. Thank you for staying on with us through our technical difficulty. And even I want to thank my co-host that even when he's not feeling well, he's so dedicated and loyal that he stays right here so that we can bring you fresh content every week. This episode will air on April the 15th, which is on tomorrow. So with that being said, please like, share, follow. Please invite a friend, share with a friend, bring a friend. Talk about recreation therapy and all the beautiful work that we do on a day-to-day basis as recreation therapists. Please reach out to me if you would like to at Maisha at recreationrooster.org. Also, if you live in the greater Los Angeles area and you're looking for some great private charge opportunities, part-time work, please reach out to me at info@newhorizons-concierge.com. You can reach out to my agency at 213-524-6925. That's New Horizons Concierge Firm. And you can also look up my website at www.newhorizons-concierge.com. All right, Dan.
Absolutely. And of course, I also could be reached at 845-987-0104, 845-987-0104, the greater New York City area. Daniel at recreationrooster.org, Daniel at recreationrooster.org. Check us out at www.recreationrooster.org, www.recreationrooster.org, and get yourself a t-shirt, like, sponsor, comment, and dialogue with us, please. Yeah.
Absolutely. Have a great day, guys, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.